Welcome to the Brain Picker Pro Show, live from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. This is Larry Goins, and I am so excited today. Got on a good, long-time friend, successful, full-time real estate doer, mover, and a shaker, Jim Zaspel. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Larry, good to talk to you, man. Good to be seen. It's my
I
friend
know,
Jason.
right?
I wish I could say your town name like you do. I just can't say it quite the same way. I'm
Lake
not as cool.
Wiley.
Wiley.
There you go. That's good. That's good. That's
That was
good.
close. That was
Man,
close, right?
how long have we known each other?
Gosh, I've known you. First time I saw you, met you was 2000. I want to say like 11 or 12, something like that. It was in Vegas at actually a speaker event that I forget who was hosting it, but that was the first time I met you. You
Wow.
might not remember, but I remember.
It was probably Jeff Adams' event.
That's what it was. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's gotta been that has to have been at least 8 or 10 years ago.
Something like that. Yeah. Something like that.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So why don't you start out and tell our listeners a little bit about who is Jim?
Well, that's a long and that's a long. I'll give you a short answer to a short question. So I'm a young dude. I'm only 31, and I love all things outside. I love all sorts of sports, and mountain bike, I shoot guns, and fly airplanes, jet ski, all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm a dad of two awesome boys, and a husband, and Christian, and real estate investor. I love real estate.
That's
So
great.
that is me in a nutshell. What I do.
That is great. And you got an awesome wife? She's a
I
sweetheart.
do. She's the brains of the outfit. I'm the mover and shaker. She's the brains.
Well, I knew that. You didn't have to say it. I knew that already.
That's true. That's true. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Larry.
That's great. So
Yes.
tell our viewers a little bit about what kind of real estate that you do.
Sure. So my primary business is fix and flip. So we do, like last year, we did right around 60 fix and flips, 58 actually. And then I wholesale a couple or a few houses a month, and we've got like 12 rentals or something like that.
Wow.
So
And I'm taking
that's
notes
our
here.
business.
Yeah.
Sure.
12 rentals and
hmm
58 fix and flips last year.
hmm
Wow. That's amazing. How did you get started into real estate?
Honestly, I was a landscaper, a dead broke landscaper, right? And when I was 18 years old, my dad heard one of the gurus radio ads said you learn all you need to know about real estate investing just buy this $20 book,
Right.
right? We've all heard that. I think it was a free book actually with $20 shipping and handling.
Right, right.
And so 3 years later, I was actually wanting to learn. So I was 21 years old. I read the book. And it was one of these books. It's after the book, it's a $50 CD set, and after the CD set, they call and say, "Hey, Ron asked me to invite you to this, to the seminar." I said, "Great, tell them I'll be there." They said, "Great. How do you want to pay the $5,000 tuition?" I said, "What? I got to pay?" Totally surprised, naive as could be. I was 21 years old at the time, right? And I was like, "This is crazy." So I had $7,000 liquid to my name. But Larry, I actually had a negative net worth, meaning I had like way more debt, credit card debt, than I
Right,
had
right.
cash. So I paid the $5,000 though, like
Yeah, it was
out
about
of
to
the
get
seven
worse, right?
thousand cash I had. Yeah,
It was about to get worse for a
and
while.
it was about to get worse, right? So it was crazy. When I went to that first seminar, I didn't know how to spell real estate. Um, I thought it was one word. I kid you not. I thought it was one word. So anyway, I went to the seminar in September of 2008, the week the poo-poo hit the fan with the
Oh, yeah.
marketplace. That exact week. And then in March of '09, I did my first deal. It was a wholesale deal. Made $13,800. And I went home. I lived at my parents' house at the time. I didn't believe it, so I cashed the check. Right. So I
It's
get all this
real.
cash in the
It's real.
it's real. I couldn't believe it. So I put the bag of cash in my dad's lap. He was at his desk, and he opens it up and says, "Oh my gosh, what's this?" And my dad's a preacher. He thought I got in a drug dealer or something like this, right? I said, "Dad, that's my first real estate deal. If I did it once, I can do it twice. We do it twice or 10 times. If I can do it 10 times, I can make a career out of this." And he said, "Go for it." So I sold my landscaping equipment, never looked back, and here we are, a few hundred deals later.
That is awesome, man. That's a great story. That was in March of 2009.
Yes, it was.
And
Yes,
it
it
all
was.
started at by getting a free plus shipping book from Ron LeGrand, I
Yep.
bet, right?
You got it. You got it. You got it.
That's awesome. You know what? He is
Yeah.
still selling those books today.
He literally is. That dude doesn't quit.
That's awesome. That is
Yes.
great.
Yes, it is.
So you've done hundreds and hundreds of deals now, and you specialize in fix and flips, right?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
made you go from the wholesale, to doing mostly fix and flips and only doing a few wholesale deals a year?
So part of the so I did a lot of wholesaling, then also did a lot of creative finance deals and like lease options subject to seller financing. And within about two and a half years of being in the business, I had close to 50 rental properties. Right, almost
Wow.
all of them acquired, no money down, and but they were in all the wrong areas. My self image was really low, and so I bought houses in low end areas.
Right.
And so my tenants didn't pay me, and I couldn't float the negative cash flow. So before I knew it, 8 out of 46 people were paying me on a monthly basis. Right?
Wow.
That's not a very good ratio. Yeah, so I was a terrible landlord. Meaning, if they stopped paying me, I called. They said they were gonna. I believed them. That was crazy, right? So,
I know, right? You know better now.
so I know better now. So before I knew it, about I forget what year this was. It was like 3 years or so into the business, 2012
Right.
or so. You just this what I thought was like a mini empire for myself just kind of collapsed on me, right?
Right.
And so a lot of BS hit the fan. It was a couple of lawsuits and lost my reputation, and it just I kind of buried my head in the sand for about a year, just doing a wholesale deal here and there to stay alive. And finally, it was January of 2013, January 1, New Year's resolutions. I thought, you know what? I wasn't raised to, break promises to people. I owed about $300,000 to various people. Whether it was a, friend of the family who had lent me money in a deal, or a seller, or a lawsuit settlement, about 300 grand. And I had, no money to my name whatsoever. And so I was like, you know what? I need big chunks of cash, and I need them, soon.
Right.
And so I called. I remember like it was yesterday. It was January, I forget what, but early January 2013. I called every single person I had money to and said, listen, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to pay you back. And they said, well, why didn't you answer my phone calls the last 6 months? Right. But so sure enough, then by January 2015, I paid back all of that money in full with interest for the whole time. So I made it all right, and I was able to do it so quickly. Wholesaling is great, and there's people who make more money than I do, but they do it wholesale. That's great, good for them. But for me, I needed big chunks of cash, and rehabbing I saw as the path of least resistance to get there.
Well, you know what
So that's
I
what I did.
want to, and you know what? First of all, Jim, that's very, very, very admirable what you did. A lot of people would just walk away, wipe a clean slate, and move on and start over, right? But I got to tell you, man, that is so admirable. I want to spend just a minute or so talking about, the whole mindset you had to go through to realize that, man, I've had some successes, I've made some money, I got caught in a downturn, and then you owed a lot of money, maybe even had a negative net worth again for a while, and then you came to the realization, I'm gonna pay these people back. I need to get in front of this, and I need to let them know. And then you worked and busted your tail until you paid them all off, and that has, I guess what I want to hear from you is, what have you learned by going through ups and downs and realizing that, trees don't grow to the sky, the real estate doesn't go up and stay up, it goes up and comes down. What have you learned through, whether you want to call it a mistake or mistakes, or whether you want to call it just downturns in the market? What have you learned from that that's made you a better person and investor?
So I would say two things, right? And it really falls into two categories. I'm a simple guy. I'm a college dropout. I was homeschooled all 12 years, so I got to keep it simple just to survive, right?
Right.
So one is you've got to own your own mistakes. I don't blame the market. It wasn't the market. Sure, stuff was happening in the market.
Right.
I blame myself,
Right.
right? And so, I own the problem. I own the mistakes, take 100% responsibility. That is the most empowering thing. People ask me, well, but didn't the tenants not pay you? Didn't the contractor screw you over? Yeah, they did. but I should have pre-screened the tenants better. I should have managed the contractors better. And here's what happens, and I know you know this, Larry, but when you take 100% responsibility for your mistakes, all of a sudden you put the control of your success back in your own hands,
Right.
not in somebody else's.
Right.
If you listen carefully to anybody who's broke, they're always blaming everybody, their employer, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their daddy, their mommy, their neighbors, everybody except themselves, right? So that was one thing. And a big part of that was, and this was hard, I had to forgive myself, right? I made wrongs right as best I possibly could, and I had to move on. I had to allow myself to move on. Sometimes when we're the kind of person who wants to do what's right, we have a hard time moving on, forgiving ourselves. But you got to move on. And the turning point for me was I realized I owed all this money, which was no surprise. I knew I did. But I was like, you know what? I cannot make these wrongs right unless I forgive myself and try to move on so I can do more deals. So that was the kind of the turning point, right? But the other thing, in terms of the business side of things, the number one lesson is, if you're looking to make a positive change in your life, you've got no choice but to hustle your behind off. So if you've got money to spend, then you're doing direct mail like crazy. You're doing pay-per-click calls, your pay-per-click leads, whatever you're doing. Or if you don't have money, you're networking like crazy. You're door knocking. You're skip tracing. But you gotta hustle, and the hustle has not changed at all in my business. Now, what I do to hustle changed today. I have 9, 10 employees. So what I do to hustle changes, but it is still the hustle that ensures the success.
Right. Right. That's very good. I love what you said about you took ownership, right? Once you took ownership,
yeah,
you picked up the phone and made those tough calls. And that had to be very difficult.
It was the hardest day of work of my life.
I believe it.
It was like 20 minutes. It was the hardest day of work of my life.
I believe it. I believe it. But you know what? It helped you be not only a better investor, a better businessman, but also a better person.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's the only way you got to make your wrongs right. You got to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm really proud of you. I think that's awesome. So what do you do, Jim, to stay motivated?
What do I do to stay motivated? So this is something I'm always asking myself. But I'll tell you a few things, and I'll be honest, and I'm a very transparent guy. I don't have this as solidified as I probably should. But I'll tell you some of the things that do motivate me, right? One is I don't want to be broke again. I know what being broke does.
There you go.
And somebody told me once, desperate people do desperate things. And a lot of the reasons I got into trouble was because I was desperate, right? I did desperate things just to kick the ball farther down the road. I don't want to be, I'm pretty sure, by God's grace, I'd never be that person again, but I don't want to be broke again, right? Two, and I grew up in a lower middle class income family, right? In a small town. And I swear it's the happiest kid of my life. I don't think it takes money to make kids happy. But by the same token, I want to be able to let my kids experience experiences that I wasn't able to as a kid.
Right.
And so that's a huge drive motivator. And I've got expensive hobbies. I've got expensive hobbies. I got a family that I want to have cool experiences with. We took a $50,000 vacation to Hawaii over Christmas and New Year's. It was a lot of fun, right?
Wow.
You can't really do that crap when you're dead broke.
That's true.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that motivate me. But I'll tell you, on a daily, those are big picture things. On a daily basis, some of the things that motivate me is I'm constantly reading. So right now I'm listening to Damon John's book, Rise and Grind. I love it. It's a good audiobook, right? I've got some other books I'm reading. I'm always reading the Bible as well. And I think personal exercise and fitness is really helpful as well. But those are some of the things I do on a daily basis or near daily basis to kind of keep my head in the game and not let the crap get you down. Because there's always crap, right?
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
And our job as leaders of our businesses and entrepreneurs is to not let it get us down. And that's some of the things I do.
So a couple of things you mentioned. First of all, you mentioned about, when you were growing up, you were a really happy kid. What was your family?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have family that's been in real estate at all that kind of got you interested?
Well, my dad got me interested now, but my mom was a stay-at-home mom and, part-time unpaid church secretary. My dad was pastor of a small church, and his dad is a pastor. And his dad, I don't know what my great grandfather did, right? So no, I have no family in real estate except for me and my wife. But my dad, always knew that I wanted to be my own business owner, and so pardon me while I get rid of that notification. And so anyway, he's the one that bought me the book. But no, I've got no family in real estate whatsoever. It's just one of those things I always loved.
That's awesome. That's really good. Now, you mentioned Damon John's book, Rise and Grind. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I try to read about a book a week, something like that. And I've actually, I've been reading the Bible on Audible as well. I got the latest version I got was the 1 year chronological Bible. That's really cool. I like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I do like that.
The books aren't in chronological order. Who knew, right?
I know, right?
But, yeah.
So it really kind of helps put a lot of that together. I mean, like, I'm sure, like, you're probably pretty much a scholar on the Bible, just growing up, that way.
I wish.
But it really does help me. But anyway, what I wanted to get at was, what are some of your other favorite books that have helped you, maybe in real estate and personal development?
Sure. I'm looking over across the bookshelf right now. So for folks who are getting started, there's a book. I forget who wrote it. It's called the Magic of Thinking Big. I forget the title, but there's only one book by the title. Right. It's a great starter book to really help expand your mind a little bit, because it's totally true. You got to start thinking different if you're going to get different stuff, right? For salesmanship, another book that was really helpful, instrumental, is Goals. Goals by Brian Tracy. At this point, it's surprising how little the population actually sets goals.
I know,
so
right?
What's one thing we do with our team? We help them set goals. Otherwise, you're just like a ship without a rudder, just wandering around aimlessly in the ocean, right? So that was a great book. For salesmanship, there's probably two books I recommend most. One is How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success by Frank Bettger. He's an insurance salesman from, I think, the 1920s or 30s.
Yeah.
And just love that book. I love the book. It's like you should read that every year, right? Another book, there's two of them by Robert Cialdini. I actually saw Robert Cialdini speak at a seminar a month ago. And one was, the primary book was the book Influence by Robert Cialdini.
Right.
Cialdini.
I got it over here somewhere.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at my copy right here, right?
Here's another one of his books.
Yes, that was the next one, man. You read my mind. That was the next one. Yes. So Robert's got some awesome books. And another thing I love to do is I love reading stories of entrepreneurs. Even like there's a Forbes 100 businesses who shape the way we live and do work. It's an awesome book. You got 10 to 20 pages on 100 different, not 100, but 20 different businesses and brands that we all know. And it's really cool to hear those stories.
That is awesome. And that's good. How often or how many books do you listen to or read a month or a week or whatever?
I would say I finish on average about one a week, maybe every 10 days. Right now I'm reading two books. Well, the Damon John book, another one called The Power of When, talk about timing for different decision making. And then I just started another book, Unique Ability. That was recommended to me in a mastermind recently.
I got it right here.
Okay.
I got it right on my shelf over here.
There you go. There you go. I should save all the time. Just import your brain into mine, and that'd be good. So those are the three books I'm reading right now.
The sad thing about that book, it's the only book I've read. There's two books I've read in the last year or two that aren't available on Audible or at least on CD, and that's one of the two. Right. Yeah, because I'd much rather listen.
I like listening too. It's a whole lot better than country music. I love country music, but it's a lot better use of time than country music.
Well, see, I'm from South Carolina. We like both kinds, country and western.
Okay. That's a good one, man.
No, I'm just kidding. I actually love classic rock. That's my favorite. Look over here on my office wall.
I think that's right. Look at that, man. That's incredible.
I actually built that guitar. Have a patent on it.
Did you really?
It's a design patent. Yeah.
Wow.
So you're doing about 60 rehabs a year, some wholesale, doing some rentals. How are you marketing for your business? How do you generate your deals?
So there's like six. That's a question everybody always asks me. Like I have a secret answer. I'll list. I think it's six things we do right now. Now there's
Right.
a lot of detail in each of these. We do direct mail, about 8 to 10,000 postcards a week. We do pay-per-click ads, about 7 grand a month. We do a little bit of skip tracing, not much, a little bit of that. We have a process for getting deals out of the MLS consistently, and as well as auction sites and whatnot. And then I also network with other wholesalers. We buy deals from wholesalers as well. That's
Wow.
it.
But okay, wow, 8 to 10,000 direct mail pieces a week. That's
Mm-hmm.
huge. That's huge. That's a
It
lot of
is.
money.
I'm looking at the KPI sheet from last week. I thought I had it. Yeah, so we get anywhere from 1.5 to 4.5% rate of response on those postcards.
1.5 to 4.5. Listen, that's good. Isn't
Very.
and I don't do any direct mail right now. I'm having to move back into it soon. That's the reason I like doing these podcasts like this. I get to pick other people's brains, thus Brain Pick a Pro. That's what it's called. But but so, you know, I haven't had to do that because I've been getting most of my stuff the MLS and HUD, right?
Right.
But 8 to 10,000, that's a lot. That's a
It
lot.
is. It's a lot to manage. I think direct mail is one of the last things you should do to market. I think it's critical, but there's some other things people ought to do first. The other things I mentioned, because it's expensive, and then you got to talk. You got to manage the inbound call process, the appointment booking, the follow up. It's a lot. It's pretty involved, but it's a whole science.
It is, isn't it? It is.
Yeah, yeah, whole
Wow.
science.
Now, are you mailing to a specific list of like, is it all probate or is it? Well, I doubt it if it's 8 to 10,000 a week.
That'd be like Chicago probate. You know what I mean?
I know, right? Exactly. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
is it
it's
just absentee owners or
probate,
what?
absentee owners, challenged credit list is one that we're mailing to right now.
Wow. Okay.
Seniors, challenged credit lists. This is the typical stuff. There's nothing surprising there that we mail to, but we do mail it consistently. We mail them 4 to 5 times, 30 days apart. So we mail each
So
person 4 to 5 times.
the exact same people 4 to 5 times a month apart.
Yeah, one different mail piece each time, different postcards.
Right, right, right. So, okay, okay. So you're probably going to have, you know, about 25,000 or whatever that you're going to work over a year, but you're going to mail, you know, or maybe no, if it's
40,000.
per week, that's more like 40 or 50,000.
Yeah, so 40,000 lasts us about 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Wow, that's
So,
crazy. That's
well,
crazy.
yeah, the thing is, for your listeners, so we spend like 30 grand a month in marketing. You don't have to, right? You don't have to spend anything. But the less you spend, the harder you got to work, right? I think that's an important lesson that some people like. Oh, I want to get into real estate, no money, right? Well, you got to spend money somewhere, or you got to spend a lot of time. What you want to spend for marketing, money or time, to
Right.
get deals,
It's got to be somebody's
right?
money. Doesn't have to be yours,
Yeah,
but
that's right. That's right.
So you said that you had, I believe earlier you said you had 9 or 10 employees. What does your business setup look like?
So we have a closing coordinator, two, soon to be three acquisitionists. They either an MLS acquisitionist or they meet with sellers. We've got our wholesale dispositions salesperson, a couple of realtors on the team, so they work under my wife's license, and then we have two project managers. We hire GCs to do the work, and then we also have inbound two full-time inbound phone people to talk to sellers.
Right.
Okay. And I think that's it. And then a tech girl, Courtney. She's awesome. And that's about it.
Are all of your people virtual or do you have an office everybody goes to?
Almost everybody here is local. They meet at the office.
Okay, they come into the office. That's
Mm-hmm.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys are doing it virtual where it may be a local person, but everybody's just working out of their own house or whatever.
I mean, kudos to them for pulling that off. I mean, in fact, a mutual friend of ours, Joe Thomas, he's now going from virtual back to having an office. And he's got a kick-ass business. I mean, bigger business than I do. But Yeah, I like having an office. I like the collaborative environment of being together.
Man, you know what? You and I are exactly alike in that sense. I love having the team. I love seeing people out there. I love the camaraderie, high fiving. We even have a bell in our office where hanging on the wall, anytime we get a house under contract to buy or under contract to sell or have a closing, we ring the bell and everybody in the office claps.
I love it. That's a good idea. I'm going to do that's a writer downer, man.
Yeah,
I'm
there
going
you
to do
go.
that.
That's good.
I'm
We
going to do
love it.
that, man.
That way, everybody in the whole building knows something just happened, right?
And it's good.
Do you have any parting words for our listeners?
So I would say there's a couple of things. One, recognize that with doing real estate deals, like the building block, the cornerstone, what it all starts with is marketing, right? Starts and ends with.
Right,
You
right.
can know how to do the best transaction in the world. You can be the best closer, but if you don't have potential deals to talk to, potential sellers to talk to, you got nothing. And
That's
so I
so
would say you're
true.
always striving. Number one focus on getting deals.
That's so true.
Second, I'm a big fan of education. I mean, I still spend a lot of money either to hire coaches or masterminds. I still buy home study systems once in a while. I've gone to dozens of guru seminars. I
Me and
firmly
you
believe in
both.
that stuff. So you need both. So taking action for getting deals, and the education. Those are two things. And Larry, if it's all right with you, I'd like to give out the link to my blog. People can check out
Sure.
some cool free information. Sure,
That was the next
it's
thing I
really
wanted to ask.
simple.
How would people get in touch with you if they wanted to?
Oh, there you go. Great minds work alike. It's really simple. It's jimzaspel.com. That's my first and last name.com.
That's good. JimZaspel.com. That's awesome. You got a blog. You have a lot of great information there. Buddy, I really, really appreciate you being on today. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you got another conference call you got to jump on. So I really, really appreciate it. And thanks so much. It's been a lot of fun and been a lot of great information.
Absolutely. My pleasure, Larry. Thanks for having me, man.
All right. Thanks, buddy.